Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and take your seats. Your hosts Vertek and Chibi Bree are back from their latest adventures.
Hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today being April 1st, I will refrain from saying that today's show is actually an April Fool's joke, because it's not. We're too focused on work to come up with a good joke today, so maybe next year.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I sent you a pretty good one, Bray.
Womp womp. Yeah, no Rickrolls. No Rickrolls in chat. No Rickrolls in chat. April Fool's jokes are allowed. No Rickrolls.
Hello, welcome in.
But
our April Fool's joke was gonna be really mean. We're gonna quit the. Actually, I tried playing an April Fool's joke on Vertek this morning, but he pulled an all-nighter, so I felt too bad actually pulling one on him. So I halfway pulled it, and I was saying, I'm going to quit Golden Feather, and then I quickly followed it up with, and I'm gonna make the Silver Feather instead, or something like that.
yeah, the Flaming Feather.
The Flaming Feather.
Flaming
Happy
feather?
Friday.
The Ashen Feather.
The Ashen Feather. There we go. Dig the intro jam. Thank you. It's from our good friend, the Paradox Gaming Network.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Ash is near 10 months. Thank you. Happy April Fool's Day.
Yeah, it was actually created by PGN Music right there. You can check out all their stuff.
This week, drumroll please, released their website. So PGN Music now has a website.
Dig it.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Jalon's been on a roll this year, like putting out all kinds of music.
Good job, Zatrix, on the website, by the way.
Got a bunch of lo-fi, some jazz and stuff, so you can listen to while playing games in chill mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ashes of Nera, thank you for 10 months. It's fantastic. We love you.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
This is the link. This is the link to the PGN Music Vertek. Well, that's okay. So that's his YouTube. This is his actual website.
Mm-hmm.
So my sub now was just a joke. Haha, best April Fool's joke ever.
Nice. It is indeed the best joke ever. You should tell more of them. Everybody should tell
it
those
would not
jokes.
be right. It would not be an April Fool's Day without a sandal tattoo. So maybe okay, this is our joke. We are going to make ourselves get a sandal tattoo. Haha, just kidding.
Enchantment.
Oh man, if I had the artistic skill, I would totally try to do that in Photoshop real quick and send out a picture. Make it like we just actually got a sandal tattoo.
A fresh
in
sandal
honor
tattoo.
of the video. Yeah.
I'm gonna look up a little. You're on a roll, TV. Thanks, horrendous.
With a little scorpion teardrop.
Gotta make sure it's white though.
Yeah.
I don't know how well that's gonna be seen.
Oh, that much the better. Those who need to know will know. But
Gotta watch out for the shadow guard in the background.
Yeah, right. But yeah, today's episode is called Add a Bit of Character. As many of you may know, they just released their first look at the character creator.
Right?
Lots to talk about there.
Indeed,
But first things first. Or first things third, because we kind of went off the rails with chitty chat already, so we'll put that on the back burner. Sorry, sir, you are not as much a priority today.
I was here last week too, so. Oh,
What is your name?
I'm Sid. Yeah, I'm your average Joe. I play all the kinds of video games, all the MMOs, all the RPGs. I normally, during the day, I'm a project manager working with fan companies. And yeah, I DM for these two on a different channel. every second and fourth Monday of the month.
A different channel for now. But
Different channel for now. Question mark?
Vertec and I are working on stuff, and I can't tell you what stuff, but eventually we'll be hosting it right here. And also, I guess that's a good way for me to take a segue. As soon as we finalize a few more things, we were thinking of doing community nights on Sundays with you guys, at least on the occasion. Because we would like to hang out with you guys a little bit more. And also, I don't know. That'd be fun to play some games. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands came out recently, and a few of us, Vertec hopped on that. One of our friends from D&D hopped on that. So they're interested in playing, and I'm interested in finding other TTRPGs or things of that nature to play with you guys. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, dwarves are going to be done last. They're doing it in order of height.
I
Outside
thought
of Renkai.
I was
Renkai
like,
were grumpy.
aren't you a little bit short, mister? In terms of your character
That's
height
why
versus my
we're not
character
done
height?
yet. Yeah, that's why yeah. Okay, so my theory just fell flat. Ignore me.
Kalar only, thank you. No, Grumpy, no. I hope they let us use this creator soon. I need to make myself. Exactly.
Yes, very much. Though probably I'm not expecting to get full hands-on until Alpha 2 drops, or if they launch an actual creator for, like Steven did say, pre-making your character before the launch.
Gonna spend some time.
I would expect that'll be open, closed beta at the earliest, open beta at the latest. When we're talking like actual, here's the full character creator. Have fun, do it, make your character, save your character, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be available, and you'll be able to do some stuff on the Alpha 2, and it just won't be fully featured or close to fully featured until, like you were saying, like the beta 2s, beta 1, when it'll finally be like, okay, now we're just polishing and making it look perfect.
Yeah,
But,
they're also saying that they'd like you to be able to save your character to preload it right in, essentially.
Yeah,
And maybe share it with other people, which sounds super fun. Like
that goes along the lines to segue towards Final Fantasy. If you got the benchmarks to whenever they make any new expansion, you always got the character creator with the new race. So
nice.
It follows that kind of line, which is really nice. So you can jump in, load your character, get right in the game, which will be fantastic on launch day.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, even like Grumpy said, on the bottom left, it has the little save icon and what looks like an upload or import icon maybe. So that'll be dandy. And Revan 26.99 actually brought up one of my most intrigued things that popped up there through the stream, and that was the blend. The little blend feature. The RP community is going to be going heavily abuzz about that, because now they can definitely do like family trees and intermarriages between families and this and that. Okay, well, let's go ahead and grab grandma, grandpa, the other grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, put them all in that little thing and combine some stuff to make a child. That's
going to be absolutely incredible when it all comes down to it. There's so much more than I think any character creator that I've seen to date. It has so much more that you can do.
Yeah, it's also really great because I have had some times where I've created a character and I forget how I got something to look a very specific way, and I wanted to recreate that, and I had to sit there for longer than it took to make the entire first character trying to recreate that one feature that I really liked. But this, you could import the feature and say 100% that feature, and you're blended, and there it is. Boom.
Oh boy, an MMO I can choose and customize different races. Sweet. Chooses a white male with a warrior class. That'll be anybody's luck, right?
I mean,
But
they did make
Default-
Gasman Gold already.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's the
I
default
was gonna
jump in a new
say-
game and go.
How about the female Vec though? That was pretty cute, cool looking. I liked it.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
all the character models that we got to see were extremely nice, and the fact that these are alpha, these aren't production
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
It's
not
just
even
incredible.
not
we're
even
not even-
completed Alpha 2 yet.
We're not even.
Haven't even technically started Alpha 2 at all yet.
Yeah, Alpha 2
Yeah.
hasn't started. This is pre-Alpha 2. This isn't even like close to being ready for the public stuff. So
I'm sorry.
this is fantastic.
Husband's on the screen again, and I can't stop giggling. But yeah, the male pirate is really nice. I agree. But yeah,
No.
all of this he said it's only ready for Alpha 2, right?
Like what they currently have, I think, which is the Vec, the Kalar.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
think
that's it,
those
right,
are
Meow.
those are the two that they got right now, and they're probably going to want to get basics for everything for Alpha 2. Then
Mhm.
get feedback on the character creator on what people like, what people don't. As they go, the branchlers will be fun to mess
Branch
with.
slayers. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
curious how much free play you have on that. Like, can you grab them and literally just tweak them around? Like, I want to grab
mean,
the tips and turn them
From what
upwards
it
or
looks
downwards.
like,
Turn them outwards.
with all the other body parts, I would imagine so. But my biggest question to Vertex, I will hold off for that next. But what do you think, Sid?
What with the branchlers and how we can.
Yeah, what-
Well, I think every unique part of a character's body, regardless of race, is going to be able to be manipulated in so many different ways, so that unlike games like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, ESO, where you've got your stock characters, you can make them look kind of unique, but you'll find a clone of yourself somewhere out there in the world.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be so much more it's going to be so much rarer to find someone who looks exactly like you when out in the world, and you're going to be a genuinely unique character as because of this blend feature.
Right.
And
Yeah, I think this
the
is going to end
variety,
up
the
being.
customization.
Yeah, I think you got a point there. Like, this is going to end up being like real world style because of how many different variations and like minute differences, where you could find somebody that from like a distance of like 20 yards, you guys look exactly the same, but you have to get up closer to actually really see like the minute detail and go, oh no, I see there's a difference. You're not actually twins.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I was going to bring up, and actually Horrendous kind of touches on this a little bit, saying it will be amazing for the devs to use the tool for NPC and mob creations, not to mention the animal husbandry experiments. That is actually what I was going to refer to Vertex for in a second, but also Aberrat, I agree. Actually, I think Steven is starting to change the narrative on this is only alpha to we are finalizing things. And you can kind of see how that's going with the fact that they pushed back a week because he apparently broke it with putting way too many tattoos on him, to like how good this looks. And my question to Vertex was, when you saw the randomization on the Vec, what did you think? Just how many different variations there were, just hitting random.
And I need
And the
to base
variety of
my
the randomizations,
opinion.
I guess.
Yeah, I need to base my opinion on the fact that he said that they're not fully even in there yet. They haven't finished doing everything with the Vec in there. So I'm assuming some things are going to be getting more variety because the body marking didn't change at all. It was that one dark line pattern, and that was it. Just the one dark line pattern, over and over. And I mean, not that it's a bad pattern, but it'd be nice if that could be something unique too. So, with that in mind, just assuming that there's going to be more of that, then I dig that there is enough variety there, because I'm gonna be a small nub and tusk person. I've always thought it was weird when they do the trolls with the giant like roar. I know it's like thematically fantasy and all that, but like how do they realistically eat?
Yeah.
Like
True,
they have to like they have to use a knife and a fork more so than a human would, because they got to get it between these two tusks be able to eat it.
That are like here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like it looks very much like, oh, they're fierce and they would probably cannibalize anything. They would tear through a mammoth, really. But no, they would stick it with their tusks and carry it to the kitchen to set it on a plate and cut it. That's their food holder, not their food eater. But it just seems more of like a remnant vestige of more of a warlike tribal time, maybe, when it was a hereditary trait where, you know, that was in self-defense or whatnot, but maybe it isn't so needed anymore.
How dramatic do you think the crotch slider will be? Well, the fact that they were getting a little nervous that I even said crotch slider, I don't think it's going to be too dramatic.
Yeah, it's not going to be too
like
crazy.
Bottom slider.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that big.
Yeah.
That brings up the other questions, which probably aren't appropriate for the show, but you know, everyone has mods, and that brings up the questions on how that's going to run in with mods. But that's a total other conversation rabbit hole.
Yep.
Yeah. But and welcome, by the way, there, Super.
Yep. Vec retirement home. Horrendous was saying somebody could have a fleet of hunchbacked and old Vecs running their farms. So Grumpy's like a Vec retirement home.
or are we talking Durnhold Keep here?
They said no negative results. Apply that to crotch slider. So this won't be mortal? Damn.
So it's going to be everything within the range of average.
At Twitter.
But who's average?
What is average?
Right. Hard to say.
Oh lordy. But yeah, this is... I can't say how much I'm impressed by just the first look at this thing, because if this is the very most bare minimum they were comfortable with sharing...
But can we talk about the hair for a moment?
Ready, set, go.
And yeah, no.
What about them hairs?
All the hair and the fidelity to it. How that you saw all the individual strands and how they and how they kind of hung kind of like actual hair would, rather than you know a
block of hair.
Rather than you have your block and you may have the one part or the ponytail that flickers in the background when you're casting a spell, but this looks like it's going to have actual dynamics and physics to the hair that you choose.
I challenged someone, by the way, because I looked at it for like 10 minutes earlier. This pick, especially with the beard, because you can see it so well, find any two hairs that look the same. I dare you. Please find me two hairs that look the same and send me a picture of them. Because this was all either insanely procedurally generated or like hand-drawn individual hair fibers that were then put into a mesh.
I feel like this is it's individual hair fibers put into a mesh. There's no way it's anything else.
For first pass in this character creation, I was very impressed. It's already so robust, and to think that this is not even the final form makes me happy. How much detail they pay to their systems. This makes me excited for the rest of the game, if this is the standard they're going by. Yeah, honestly, looking at like even just the way that they build their NPCs for in-game and the amount of attention. Beard's not clipping in the armor? What?
Yeah, that's big for me. All the clipping stuff always throws me off. Always.
Yeah.
No more hair or facial hair clipping. Yes, please.
I'll take a double.
Right.
So Abarat made a comment that I'm curious what you think about there, Sid. So Abarat says, I think we make a mistake to keep saying there will be dramatic changes between now and alpha, beta, and launch. They have so much to do, they cannot keep reworking everything. Now, I know you've been around the block a time or three. You've probably seen a couple games go from alpha and or beta to launch, and then a year or two after launch. What's your opinion on that? Do you think things change drastically, or do they just keep pushing, they get to a part where it's done, and then they drop it and continue on to the next thing?
You see, you can never drop anything when it comes to an MMO, because the moment you drop something, it very quickly, like technology, goes out of date. As for dramatic changes in the character creator, we won't see, I don't think, anything super extreme. We'll probably see better fidelity, better quality on the models, more options that come up in time. But from between beta and launch, graphics and art style.
Graphics and art style. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's that we're not going to see. I don't think we're going to see too much of a difference there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, if anything,
updates.
Oh, go ahead.
Updates and some refinements, but we're not going to see we're jumping new engines or completely changing how the VEC look.
I was also thinking, if anything, we might see like the refinement of the art getting better, but also a decrease in system performance expectations over time as they keep pushing out ways to like keep the quality, but bring the intensity down on what the computer is going to need.
Yeah, I
can definitely see that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right there as well. Is I think they might be at the peak of what they can expect as far as resolution and like the textures go. I think it's going to be more of just addressing specific things like the eyes. They still need to work on the eyes a bit, especially with the blinking and just the giving life to it, like having the cheek twitch or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's giving some more life to the eyes. That's much better than it used to be. It used to be a weird, soulless death stare. Now it's at least it's getting closer. It's not creepy. It's just awkward. Creepy was not too long ago. Oh, hey, Cry.
Thank you for the raid. Cry Prime. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome in, everyone. I hope you are having a good day. We're talking about the content creator system that Intrepid just put out yesterday. Hello, Benedict. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Hello, friends. Party of 5. Too funny. I know, right?
Oh,
Man,
wow.
that throws us back so hard.
Back to the origins of the podcast. Holy moly.
Absolutely.
That's the origins of this channel right there.
So for those of you that don't know, we initially started as a previous podcast called The Party of 5, where I tried to organize at least 4 of us or 5 of us that had differing viewpoints, because we love having opposing viewpoints and seeing things from each other's different thought processes and points of view in general. So we've since become a co-host of Vertec and we like to host guests either from the community or other content creators. And what do you say to the character creator? We all love it. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, we're really digging it.
The artist that makes our emotes just started working on the sketches today, and she just messaged me and said, thank you for introducing me to Ashes of Creation. I like looking at this game a lot. Because I told her about Ashes, and she went and checked it out because she's into game development stuff, and she was just like,
did you send her your referral code?
I did not. I really should.
You should do that.
But if we ever expect the team to be done, we need to stop talking about how things will get better or refined in the future and embrace the work they've already done. Well, it's not really about that. It's more like when you initially make stuff, the better computers can run it just fine, but the people that have potato computers are going to have a harder time running it. And so that's what we're talking about when we say better or refined, where it's keeping the same look of it, but making it easier for older computers to be able to run that. We already saw that with APOC, I believe, with the different spell, the way that they look. And they ended up refining that to make it easier on computers to run, because some people just couldn't even look at the game. We don't talk about APOC. Never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no Sandal Shrine.
They say it's not really a concern, but also they say that because they know that they are going to be refining. What's the word? It's escaping my mind. Where you adjust everything so that it works better and smoother and.
Is it graphics? I don't know. Just something to do with the graphics. I'm bad at this.
Yeah.
No.
Either way,
well,
that
is refinement, is what you were describing. But you're going to increase you're saying they're going to increase the fidelity, basically, of the graphics.
It's a keyword that like Nvidia and AMD use to say like optimize. There we go.
Thank you.
That's
horrendous
the word.
With the word. Appreciate you, buddy.
With the clutch safe on the dictionary usage. I like it.
Yeah.
So, they're going to be optimizing a lot more for performance, which is going to make it so that people with lower grade computers can still play.
Computers
and still play with it looking well.
I would beg to differ when we look at a GPU, the price of a GPU.
Yeah, Grumpy was also responding to that part too.
I used to be able to build entire computers to play MMOs that cost about as much as GPUs do right now. It's kind of crazy. Like, it'll be like $1,500. I can make a solid gaming computer. It'll run you at like 80% to 90% of top notch on every game that's out right now. And right now, like $1,500 will get you like a top notch video card. The end.
Yeah, there's the chip shortages, but also you have to think of the people who are not adults, who are young adults who are still in college and or high school and maybe cannot afford to buy a whole brand new computer for at least $2,000. Like, there's people out there who are not that benefit. Like, look at what happened during COVID. So many people lost their jobs. So many people got debt. Like, spending $2,000 on a machine is not something anyone can just do a lot of the time.
So here's the secret. Do you want MMORPGs as a genre to survive? You got to hook them when they're young, when they can't afford a good computer. You know? Get them that first sample like really cheap, you know? Get them hooked on it, and then next thing you know, it's an addiction. They just got to keep subscribing every month and go and get that new technology upgrade fix.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't throw me back into the hole that is WoW. Don't do that to me, Vertex. You know I've been playing that game since about 2005, right?
Oh, geez.
January 05. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I picked it up in like 2008, something like that.
But absolutely. I mean, Vertec, even before we got really lucky and somebody was selling their computer that they just barely gotten for a bit cheaper, Vertec even had a bit of a potato computer and was having trouble running well, I'm being nice. And having trouble with running APOC. And I think, did we get it right before Alpha 1 or during Alpha 1? I forgot when we got you that one.
I think it was right at the beginning of it, like early on.
Okay.
It was early APOC when when Vertex got his upgrade.
But so that was us barely being able to afford that. But long term, we knew Vertec taking over the stream and making sure that everything, like audio wise, was done beforehand to the best extent possible would make it easier on editing later. So it was it was a strategic move. But yeah,
sorry,
honestly,
right back. I gotta step away from the computer. I'll still be listening, but I gotta step away from the mic.
All good. I'll take over. So, Sid, we talked about ourselves for a little bit. But yes, actually, how about that? It's funny people will spend so much time designing tattoos and scars when they'll be covering it up with armor anyway. What do you think of the tattoo and scar thing? The fact that you can turn them and adjust them right there on the body versus just sliders.
I really like that because it normally you're stuck with the tattoo in one spot, or you can move it from here to here to here, or maybe up and down a little bit, but it's confined to one spot in your body.
Yeah.
But with this, we are able to, again, it goes back to the customization, creating something truly unique. I do feel like the hide helmet function is probably going to be something important in the game. So I feel a lot of the tattoos we'll see will kind of go, like if we take this character here, will probably be on like the side of the head or on the cheekbones. Or something like that. Though the tattoos will really be used, like Vertex said, in the RP community, especially when you're talking about blends and things like that. And perhaps like some tattoos would be considered a birthmark instead of a tattoo, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be. I like the fact that I'll be able to take that bear or lion that he has on his shoulder and maybe flip it around and put it on his back, or move it down across his chest rather than it just being limited to one shoulder or the other.
Thank you, Aberat, for a month. We appreciate it. Thank you for continuing to support us and helping us continue to make this content. We have a lot planned ahead of us, and we can't wait to share it with you guys. But yeah, no, absolutely. Having the RP community be able to really customize how everything looks is going to be really awesome, because there's sometimes where I'm like, oh, I want this, but it's like not the right color or the right location. Or what if I could there's so much more on here that they're doing with the scars and the tattoos that I didn't even think I could do. Like the fact that you can turn it and rotate it, just amazing. I think it'd be funny if they offered swimsuit cosmetics turned us. I don't really think they're going to be doing that. I'm just saying. But besides the jokes, people will walk around in shirts and not armor sometimes. Also walk with no shirt on in town, etc. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wholly expect to see that, and people just showing off the character they created. Yes, people will want to be walking around in their awesome looking armor. But again, people are also still going to want to show off what they've created. Right,
a loincloth cosmetic. Super says even. Honestly, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, even on the RP spectrum of things, like some people are gonna want to play the, shirtless maniac or the what's his name from Demon Slayer, like that type of attitude. Like I'm a wild man with the boar head.
The one with the boar head. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I forgot
they're gonna want to be like the wild
name.
man that runs around without armor because he's just crazy, but he's a badass warrior type.
Yeah, I'm in real life. I am a shirtless maniac. Exactly. Living your best life there.
Sorry,
Super says even non. Huh?
I was just saying sorry to you, and I was saying, but you were saying.
Oh, all good. Super was saying even non-RPers look at New World, and when people group up and dance naked, that's been a thing since like World of Warcraft, I believe, at least.
Yeah. You haven't heard that you jump on top of the mailbox, you strip down, and you dance for tips,
right?
Okay, as long as you don't get in trouble for tampering with the mail.
Oh, jeez. Jeez. I consider this RP. Yeah, right?
It is a form of RP, yes, Grumpy.
I feel like it'll be really exciting, though, to truly like the fact that you can replicate almost Asmongold with this. It's very, like, honestly, Sims, you better watch out. Ashes is coming for you. It's very realistic. You can make it look just like yourself if you want, and pretend that you are yourself birthed into like Vera,
And to go back a little bit to a conversation we had last week with talking about the freeholds and being able to set set up people in your freehold. This is going to make it's probably going to be one of the things that the smaller nodes will have going for them. You're going to be able to reasonably get a node to level 3. Well, yes, you want to be the citizen of the metropolis, but the RPers with all this, and they want their own little stake in the world, where they run their own tavern in small node number 3. They can it'll be able to do that, and they'll have their own little set of guard people, family, that everyone can put together and slide up that look like they're actually people and that have been there for years.
Exactly. Which kind of takes us back to the NPC creator. The fact that how much faster would they be able to make development just by randomizing? And once they get the randomization in depth, the variety of, as I chop my microphone, the variety of the different NPCs they can come up with in a click.
So yeah, the amount of tools they've already created for automation is bananas. If they also did it with character creation, the one thing I would be really curious about to see if they prepare for it is going to be randomization of the character and randomization of tattoos specifically. Location, orientation, size. Imagine how many NPCs, if you randomly generate 100 NPCs and say, go out in the world, populate the world, and one of them ends up literally with like the scorpion across their face, upside down, or like a lion crooked like on the side of their nose.
I feel like if possible, because they're all integer numbers, and when you think about it, everything comes down to an integer with a modifier of another integer. So you just have a giant RNG machine. Don't we love our RNG machines?
Absolutely.
Just and when you hit randomize, and that will completely move everything to a given point. I guess the positioning is where it's going to get a little weird for things, but I feel like it will be doable.
Yeah, I think they would just need to put some kind of limiters on the tattoos. Like they would have their developer version, the NPC character generator, that's the same but not the same as the character creator. It'd be like a copy paste with some additional rules and such, so that when they hit the randomize, then again, maybe they already have that built into the randomizer. Who knows?
Oh, like also said, they could always remove the tattoos from their NPC variables.
True.
Yeah, and then
not
if
to
they
be
decide
a downer,
to put it on manually or something.
Albert, first off, I don't think this is something to be a downer. Not to be a downer, but do you think the character creator is a little overrated, since most of the time you see people, they will be wearing complex clothes or armor? And I would say my answer to that is it depends. Where are you putting stuff? What are you using with your character? What are you doing with your character? As we mentioned earlier, for some RPers, there might be a certain look that you'd want to wear that showcases whatever you did to your character. And for others, they're just going to want to make their character and move along. There's a huge spectrum of players that we're having just in Ashes alone, despite Ashes being a niche game.
Yeah, so my take on it is that it's not really overrated, because it's kind of similar to the reason people even out in the real world get tattoos, right? Like, it's there. There's a story behind it, there's meaning behind it, and it exists. Whether people see it or not, it's more for you. The knowledge of what it is and whatever it adds to your sense of self.
Sorry. I'm going to go change that now.
Oh boy. That's not me.
I'm sorry.
Jeepers.
I said I was going to change it last week and I didn't. That's on me. I'm bad.
For shame.
One
One of these days I'm going to fire you. One of these days.
Man.
Oh my. But yeah, I think it's more of a personal sense of this is what I am and this is what I have gone through, the story that I have, as well as especially RP folks will really dig that, because then they're going to tell that story. It's not just going to exist, they're going to tell it.
Where did you
It's
get
going to
that
be known.
scar? How did you get
where'd
that
you get
scar?
that? Yeah, exactly, because people are going to actually ask in the RP community, like, wow, that's a wicked scar in your cheek. What happened there? Oh, I like that tattoo. Where did you get that? What made you get that? And they're going to have a story ready for it. So I think in those cases, like, it's not really going to impact too much, because they will find reasons to wear different outfits. And like I said, they'll definitely know.
Yeah, no, there's like character creator for a lot of people is the most fun part of a game. More so than gameplay. So I actually don't think it's overrated, because the character creator, I think, draws in a lot more people than it'll push out. Yes, people will typically wear complex clothes or armor on top. However, there is probably going to be some kind of wardrobe, transmog, glamour, some kind of functions to let you make your character appear how you want them to be.
Imagine running a tattoo shop freehold.
I dig it. Like, how awesome would that be if in game you could take your art, turn it into basic lines that would, look like a good
there we go.
piece of tattoo work in a game, and actually apply it to somebody and be an artist of, hey, I want to get some ink on me, but I'm not good at situating these tattoos. Okay, here you go. That
would actually be pretty cool, especially, and that's a possibility too, especially if they they submit it officially through Ashes, because I do believe they said they were contemplating something with you can upload your own stuff for tattoos. But again, there's going to need to be a lot of vetting for that process.
Right.
And I feel like if that's going to actually come into play, it'll be you can submit 1 or 2 things per month, and a set team looks it over and makes sure that it's okay and either hits yay or nay. And if something is exceptionally good, they might even ask the creator for permission to use said thing as an actual tattoo that is offered in the creator by default.
Yeah.
And,
first off, way off topic.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to read Grumpy's post there. Sit around, friends. I'll tell you the tale of the scar on my left big toe. That cracked me up while you were speaking, so I had to bring it up there. And sorry, TB, what were you saying?
All good. I was just gonna try to catch up on all the topics from what Abra initially brought up, but if you look at Sims, like I had mentioned previously, look at how long people, if you ever watch somebody stream Sims 3 or Sims 2, look how long they sit in that character creator just to put clothes on afterwards. Like, it's already a thing people enjoy, just customizing their character. Like, how unique can I make this look? And then on top of that, I imagined kind of like the Twitch service where you request to submit your emotes, and there's a time period before they get approved. I know that Instagram has this algorithm that can check your, I believe they were talking about in implementing this at some point, but there's like some sort of AI or algorithm thing that can check what image is being uploaded, see if it meets their TOS or not, and if it doesn't, it shoots it down immediately. If it does, it goes on through and gets posted. So something like that could probably be implemented for people adding in their designs, and then it could go through that, and if it doesn't meet it, it gets shot down immediately by the AI thing, whatever system that was. Otherwise, it goes through to the mod team. And additionally, the other thing I had an idea of what Vertex said was like artists being able to essentially be able to be commissioned to make the tattoo that somebody might want. Like if our characters get married and we want to commemorate it somehow, we could potentially find an artist to like make a custom tattoo for us and then submit that in as an idea.
Yeah, how neat would it be if there was, say, like, this is all going on imagining there could be a tattoo shop in the game, right? So totally going way off the deep end here. But
congratulations, like, Wicca, you're bringing this to fruition.
Yeah. Right? But like, imagine if you could go to some business in the town and actually register a business by paying a giant gold fee, right? And that enabled you to be able to submit art designs for approval. And you had to pay your dues every month, like your business fees, like franchise fees, let's call them. And wood chip, holy mackerel, 31 months.
Thank you.
31 months? Oh,
that's a long time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, friend. We appreciate you.
That's why he has the little first next to his name. He was our founder.
Yeah.
So.
Founder wood chip. That's what the 00 is, actually. It's because Chip was here day 0. That's the story.
Absolutely.
That's the story. Sticking to it. But yeah, like if you had like monthly fees coming out of your business account in the game, and that was just to support submitting up to a certain number of art pieces for approval, and it would need to be like skimmed by whoever's in charge of skimming that stuff and approving it, but at least it would be a gold sync, right?
Yeah, that's another thing that that's going to be something to look into is what are all the gold syncs going to be?
Technically you were wood chip. Technically you were. He was here from Party of 5 Days, so technically he was here before the Golden Feather was.
It's true. It's true.
But yeah, that's the number of things, like for one, the inspiration based off of just seeing the character creation is just awesome to hear, and the community as well as us here. It's just really cool to see how something like that is so impactful to the game, to the point that everybody wants to talk about it because it's such a big thing. And it may not seem like such a big thing to some, but if you think about it, what are you running around in the entire game? So making sure that feels good and unique, I like it. Good job, Intrepid. You did amazing. You blew my expectations out of the water. I have to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was not expecting a character creator this in depth and this good at this point in time.
Yeah, I would say by their description, I kind of was hoping that it was going to be exactly what they showed us, minus the blend feature. I had not expected that, so that kind of put it way over the top.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second then. How cool is it that they have, what is it, the gradient? Let me increase the quality so I can read what the screen says. The contrast and the gradient. So the contrast is apparently the contrast between the colors, and then the gradient is where on the hair that's situation. That is really ingenious. I've never seen that before necessarily, not in this aspect at least.
I really like it.
I've seen games do it, but they usually do it in a weird way, and it ends up being awkward feeling to me, and I end up putting it like way on one side or the other, and I'm like, it's just got a little bit of some other color because everything in the middle just looks weird.
I love the technical description from the devs. Yeah. What about you, Sid? What do you think?
I feel I really like it. Being able to, like, you can show that either your hair is dyed, what they said, the gradient being the roots of your hair versus you having frosted tips and everything in between. I think that's going to be absolutely fantastic, especially if you can go in to a business later on where you can get your hair styled and get your hair recolored, because I think that would be a missed opportunity if they didn't have some sort of barbershop or esthetician or something to at least let you go in and fix your hair, get new tattoos, or something or other along those lines.
I think
be a total
Vertec
other-
just got inspired by something.
This that could be a whole other occupation in game, right? You got your tattoo artist, you got your hairstylist, you got your, just put them all in there. Just have them pay a gold fee every month to be able to have access to certain designs that players can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that would let them charge a premium for their unique, a special thing you can only get at Metropolis A.
Right.
What happens if Metropolis A goes down? You have to track down that player and see where he puts up shop next if you want to get that one hairstyle.
Golden,
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
You. Many thanks.
Yeah. I was gonna say it would be really cool to see like the different like the different nodes and like the different customization, like depending on the overarching race of that node. Maybe there's different tattoo that you can unlock at like a quote unquote tattoo shop. I don't know how that's gonna work, but that would be cool, like inspired by like the Vec or inspired by the Kalar, and things like that. That'd be super cool to see the differences in. Horrendous says, I hope Diggs and Alpha Soul will be happy with it. They were both concerned about the options the creator would offer, and I agree. I hope so too, because I saw a good variety of skin tones and hair colors and ways to do your beard.
It's incredible. This is, like I said earlier, the most in-depth character creator I think I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Elden Ring has a pretty beefy character creator, but I feel like it's super clunky in comparison to this, which is very streamlined. And this is very streamlined and makes everything look so good so easily, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
I agree.
I think the beards look artificial a little bit because of maybe the gravity effects the physics aren't really in place much. How like Steven was wiggling it around and he was asking if the tabard would kind of sway or the loincloth would sway. So I think maybe if they were to get the physics on, maybe it would look more realistic because it would wave a little bit more maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think they're still working on stuff like that, little bits here and there, especially because he broke it. But leave it to Steven to break stuff in a good way, though. I guess the marketing team or whoever was like reviewing it right before QA maybe decided like it wasn't really broken, and then he'd accidentally broken it. So
yeah. 1 out of 40 times. All right, make it 2.
Right, it is Wicca. It is gonna improve from here. And Wood, you're gonna make a Diggs tune. I look forward to seeing it. I hope you'll share it when you're done. Oh yeah, by the way, let us know. Actually, I'm gonna run a poll because I haven't ran a poll on this channel for a good minute.
What do we gotta do here?
Would you guys like us to open up a character creator thread when the time comes for you to post all of your character creations and share them with each other? Is that something you'd be interested in? And I'm gonna go ahead and try to look for the poll thing. Manage a poll. There we go. I'm just gonna add it into this. There we go. So, new poll.
I think it'd be fun to kind of trade some stuff like that. If nothing else, for kind of what I was mentioning earlier, the specific forms of facial features, like that looks really good, and I don't know how to get exactly that.
Yeah, exactly.
But if someone were to post their character because they had like the perfect eye shape or whatever, you could just swipe their character, upload it, and blend it in. Yeah.
Let me yoink your eyes because I really think you got them done good, and I'm really bad. And I'm really bad at figuring out how.
Do you mind if I just pluck your eyes out?
I also let you guys cheat a little. If you want to spend your channel points on it, you can totally do that. But yeah, I'm excited. So To continue on with the conversation, sorry, I didn't mean to like pull it away like that necessarily. I just wanted to throw a poll up there real quick.
Oh, so good.
But he'll hell yeah, I'll finance the Amazon gift cards. But I think it'd be kind of cool to do like little community things of like okay, you know how they have the yearly charity stream? What if one of the competitions were to make a character in an allotted amount of time that looks like a certain person?
That would be fun. That'd be really.
And
Yeah,
everybody had to
that'd be
do their
something neat.
best to quickly like make their character, and everybody would have to like share their screen or whatever. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah,
I have
like, you
40, 40k
minutes.
points. Yeah, sorry. Real quick. We had to really redo the bot, so yes, you are only at regular status because some of the info of the bot got wiped. So I apologize for that. Your channel points are not affected by the bot. The bot is entirely separate from Twitch. It's a third-party custom bot. So all that really got wiped is your time in the chat, I believe. But
Yeah, but I'm looking at fixing that anyway because I guess I'm irregular. Well, you were, and now you're not. You've been downgraded. You're just
silly.
like the rest of us.
Just a
But,
pleb.
but yeah, I'm
Just
gonna
a
look through
pleb
the
like
backup and
everyone
see if I
else.
can just grab everything because I don't think the data got erased. I think maybe it's just referencing it in a different way because it was a pain in the neck to update.
Yeah, I believe we usually make copies or backups of the previous version of the bots, so I'm sure we'll be able to find that information somewhere. But I'll let the poll's gonna continue running. We got 7 for hey. I meant heck yeah, but I put hey yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Hey yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Since we kind of got steered off a little bit on the making player businesses and stuff, actually brought up a good question. When it comes to gold sinks and economy sinks, do you believe there can be too many? Like, is there a point where they should stop adding reasons for you to spend your gold in game? Or do you think the more the merrier because it just gives you options and more things that you can decide if you want to spend money or not?
It depends on the frequency and how actively available gold is. I find the issue with gold sinks is if there are too many, if there's a lot to begin with and then you just have the choice off the bat, that's fine. You can then pick and choose where your gold's going. But then if you're thinking like, okay, I'm saving up to get my own to start my own business or get my own freehold, often my own little node that very few people know about, so I'll be pretty safe over out here. But then they come up with, oh, you need that same amount of gold you want for your freehold to get a mount.
Right.
And you're a mount or a collector of sorts. So then you're just like, oh shoot, do I get this mount right now? And that's one and done, and then I'll be able to use that in the animal husbandry system, or do I get my freehold so I can do other things? And just because my gold income isn't that of a crafter's, I'm not making as much money as fast as they would. So it depends on, I feel like the target. If your target for the gold sink is the high-end players that are going to get it all anyway pretty quickly because they know how to manipulate the markets, or is the target the casual players and what based off of what a casual person's income would be rather than a hardcore merchant?
Well, let's say it exists where the ultimate goal and purpose that is actually achieved by a developer is that they want to have a large variety of things. None of them, or not many of them, would be considered like daily necessities. Like freehold, I would call that kind of a necessity type of thing for most people. A mount is a necessity type of thing for most people. but owning a tattoo shop is totally not a necessity for most people, but it's a giant sink for gold. Doing things like if there was a little casino type system, even if you didn't have a chance of winning money back, but you just went in and played like an arcade type thing where you pay some money and you go and you play the games, but you can only be in there long enough that you're paying money. Kind of like the gold saucer type of setup in Final Fantasy. It's kind of casino-like,
I like
but
that
not really.
they have a custom currency for that. You're not using your gil.
Yeah, those absolutely. There definitely is going to. Yeah, I do agree with Woodchip there. Slippery slope, and it will come to a point where you have to find the balance between what is achievable or what are people going to try and skip with illegally buying gold.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, the gold selling thing is probably the only one like major down point I could see, like oppositional argument against it in my personal opinion, because I figure the more the merrier for gold sinks. Like if they only put in a limited number of gold sinks, then maybe I don't like any of the options, and I just feel like there's a lot of things to buy, and I'm just buying them just because they're there to buy, and that's it.
And
like
the market will
I'm not
also
actually using them
too. The market also inflates without gold sinks, which isn't quite the goal there. So there needs to be a lot of gold sinks, but
I agree.
they can't be necessities, I don't think.
And that's the part that comes in that's really important, because with the different diverse gold sinks, you're appealing to different people, but making them forcible gold sinks, that's when you're kind of going wrong.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So the one thing like for me that I would hit on is don't make mount skins and things along that line super heavy gold sinks. I don't mind them being a light gold sink. Good example just to take the from WoW is, I wanted to get the auction house mount, but that costs 5 million gold. How's I going to earn 5 million gold? How? Whereas, you have other mounts where you can get, which is like, okay, this one costs 33,000 gold. Okay, that's a little bit more reasonable when you're talking about the economy at scale. So there's going to be a balance that needs to be hit, but I do think that that certain things should be far more expensive or more gold sink than other things.
Yeah, see, when it comes to mounts, I've always been a believer, or I should say a supporter of, and enjoying when games make it to where the first time you encounter a specific mount, you should be spending almost all of the money that you've earned up to that point, if that's your first time playing through the game.
Yes.
That should be like oh my gosh, I really want that mount, but that's like all of my money, or I need to run a dungeon one more time to get it. So it's actually a major decision to make. And then after that, then everything else is just cosmetic choices, and those can be terribly crazy expensive if they want to be, and I really don't care.
Right.
Like, but the first one should be like almost all the money you have at that level the first time you play through at a reasonable amount of playing. And I'm okay with that. But I also like to collect mounts, so I'm happy if they're cheaper. Just saying. Because I will buy them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm a collector.
The good thing. Okay. So there's a few things in chat that I want to pull up that I've been listening to you guys, but also made really good points. Horrendous says, I wonder how many will buy the resources to build their freeholds. And also that the tools and such in Alpha 1 were expensive at first, and so were the mounts. And then I remember us looking at a freehold. We're like, maybe we could try to go ahead and buy a freehold for the Golden Feather. No, I don't even have close to that much money.
Yeah, one of the houses in town. Yeah. Yeah.
And for the gold sink topic, maybe someone can make a merchant republic. Kash, thank you so much.
Kash,
16
thank
months.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, friend.
Welcome.
Hi, welcome in. How have you been? What you up to lately? Ravon says for the gold sink topic, maybe someone can make a merchant republic state where they can trade stuff legally or illegally, but not actually gold selling.
That I feel is going to be a thing. That will be a thing in both large and small nodes.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar on what that is exactly, so I'm abstaining from adding an opinion. But you just got the OP gear. Yes. We got called cheaters. If anybody wasn't here, Vertek and I were running around, and I was like, "Oh, let's check out this dungeon," and they forgot to pull out some mod or dev gear, and we accidentally found dev gear.
Yeah, they were playing around with different stats and stuff, putting it on different monsters to drop, and they forgot to remove a couple, and we found them and put them on, and became living gods at level like 4. We had about as much health point as the GMs.
I think we almost had more than they did, actually, because that's what made Maggie stop and be like, "How do you have more health than someone?" So, gods of the land.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, I had more health than anybody, but couldn't afford a house. But yeah, so. It's basically full of oligarchy and like Republic of Genoa or Venice. But yes, I know you can make an oligarch node, but how exactly a mayor should run it? Right? The glory of testing, right? Wicca. I don't know why I just called you Wiki. Sorry, Wicca.
Wikisloth.
Wikisloth. Gotta love the testing though, honestly.
Yeah, I can't wait for Alpha 2 to drop.
I'm so stoked for Alpha 2.
See what else we can break.
Absolutely, yes.
Break all the things, break the character creator some more in more ways that the devs haven't even thought of.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I think, as silly as it sounds, I'm probably going to try and take at least a day or two off during the Alpha 2. If not a couple more.
No, definitely. Because, like, we both work a lot during the time that they actually have it up. They're like, "It's up," and we're like, "Dang it, I work."
I think I got in, like, a grand total of about 5 or 6 hours worth of testing time last time it was up.
Imagine not taking a week off for A2.
Fair point.
Break the big fish. Just
oh yeah, the
big fish?
the boat boss that they said would take more than 10 boats in order to kill.
That's funny.
That sounds like every seafarer's worst nightmare, but it sounds like they will be amazing to see. And just imagine you're sending your trade ship across the ocean, and all of a sudden, chomp.
Yeah, I was highly interested in the fact that he did not say how many people would it take to raid that thing, but how many ships it would take to raid that thing.
Right.
Does that mean there's going to be a separate naval combat system that they're going to have to put in? Is that what Stephen was saying there?
Maybe. Let's see.
Maybe something more advanced than the open world stuff.
I'm not super into like the ship stuff, so I didn't really pay attention to that. I'm gonna be honest. But maybe Cash says I'm gonna probably spend hours on the character creator alone. I can relate. Red Blow, thank you for following. Welcome to the tavern. Ravon says persistent A2 will be interesting to see for a long time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's non-NDA alpha, correct? I believe the Alpha 2 should not be NDA because they dropped it for Alpha 1.
I think you're correct. I think Alpha 2 will be the first alpha that's fully
fully 100% beginning to end on NDA.
Beginning to end on NDA. I remember Alpha 1 was NDA until towards the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Wicca says, I'm low-key glad they didn't have something for size comparison on the big fish, so we get that shock when we see its actual size. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Banana for reference.
Think, yeah.
Banana for reference.
Oh, jeez. But absolutely, because that's part of the lore, right? That's part of the experience of seeing it and experiencing it yourself for the first time. And it really adds to the immersion. It adds to the excitement, all of that. Maybe it scales with ships like baby fish and giant mom fish. I love the baby shark. Hopefully Ashes actually gets ship names right. Arcade got them all wrong. Oh no, how so? I didn't really play Arcade.
They got a battleship out there. They named it the Schooner. Schooners don't have cannons, man.
I feel like the ships may have like unique Vera specific names, and they wouldn't be like galleons, schooners, longboats, and so on and so forth. They might have different names based off of the different races, and different races will have different ships and different styles of ships. But this is all speculation, which, oh boy.
Right.
Speculating's fun. That's all we can do, so we're gonna do all of it.
Yep.
What you speculating about? Everything.
Baby shark music over for Streamworks. Yeah. I got a trade ship way back in PAX. Nice, horrendous.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
I think I picked up like 2 of the ships, but I know one of them was the one that looked almost like a hummingbird. The other, I'm pretty sure, was the
Speculating.
the plague ship thing that came around with the COVID ship with the Rona pony, like that whole set. Pretty sure I got that ship. I'm trying to remember. I know I got at least 1 or 2.
That whole set, man. That whole set.
I mean, the timing was impeccable. The timing was impeccable. Hey, look, it's almost March. I think they're gonna... Wouldn't it be great if they did like a green theme? And like, almost like a St. Patty's Day, but not really? And then if they did dwarves as models for the armor, that'd be kind of cute. Yeah, neat. Maybe I think they're gonna do that. Nope, it's Red Death gear.
Yeah,
and then that
I
stuck
remember
for the next year.
That was the last time I ever guessed what was coming up next, because I was like, I'm just gonna get it wrong every time. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm passing. Somebody else can guess.
The Red Death set was there for a long time too.
Yeah, I need
I'm
to
curious
look
about that.
Sorry, go on. No, I was just gonna say I need to look
chat.
at some more of the cosmetics and see if I pick up a pack or 2 before everything launches.
Yeah.
I want to get the tree thing
because-
that's in there right now. The mount.
Oh yeah. Herndon says, I'm curious about the horseless caravan I got with the X in flag. I don't recall that one. Nah. I need to get chapstick again, because now that it's cold, like
The fluctuation of
are
weather
going
does terrible things to you.
yeah, my lips are going on strike at the moment. I'm trying to overhydrate.
Oh my goodness. Cash Kush, I'm gonna call my ship the USS Bunch of Lumber.
Oh my god, I love it.
Alright.
Here comes the lumber ship. So many pre-Margaret designs I'm excited to see. Yeah, right? Because I remember it being a big change in just atmosphere when she joined, from before to after.
There's a lot of cool ones that they had early on too.
Light reading.
Oh, yep. I believe
That wasn't a redeem?
we don't
We
have
need
it
to add
as a
redeems. I don't think we
redeem.
have
Oh, it's
anything.
not a redeem.
It's not a redeem. If y'all want redeems, you let me know what redeems I'll add them. But I think I'll go ahead and add a hydrate redeem now, just while I'm sitting here chatting with you guys. But
Yeah, it's about time we set that up.
Gotta get those redeemed, especially with people with 40k plus channel points sitting in chat.
Gotta spend that.
You know what?
Jeez.
Maybe some of those redeems could be, and I'm gonna deviate a little bit. Maybe some of those redeems could be used for choosing which game to play for the Sunday things. But they have to be from a specific list of games, because if it's something we don't own or it's not free, then I would rather not do that at the moment. Y'all know there's a magical tattoos and ashes, so you can migrate your stats.
I feel a dad joke punchline coming up with the
there's
statement
there's
like that.
there's
a dad joke punchline coming. Yeah, it's called the blat.
Actually,
Golden
gotta
sus.
turn that one off.
Golden sus.
Right.
Very sus.
But yeah, I mean, that could definitely be a thing, like choosing what game we play, or at least genre, maybe. Some stuff like TV play blindfolded or something. Tats give stats, I like it.
Especially in the RP community.
You get bonus points there for sure. For sure. Oh man. So as someone who has kind of been staying out of the loop on accident or on purpose, either way, how was this dip your toe back in experience today? Seeing the change in artwork, at least if nothing else, because I know they had a little bit of a change, and this is some of the first time we're really seeing a lot of it close up like that.
No, it was really nice to go back and look in. I've just had so much on my plate with work and everything, so everything just kind of goes wee.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wait for the email saying, oh yes, no, we are going to be doing Alpha 2, and it's going to be persistent, or we're doing Alpha 2 and these are the times, can you make it? So I am I'm very
gosh.
Ruh-roh.
Well, Kosh says only S-Tats. I'd post the wiki link, but I don't want to get the ban hammer. I think you should be good. I think it won't come for subscribers, by the way. But also it's exclamation mark wiki for wiki in general.
I just went and I looked it up here just so we could toss it out there as well for anybody who is not in the know. Decals applied to the character creator.
Oh my gosh, I'm dumb. So like you can move your tattoos. Can you move your stats? Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
Oh no, sorry, no, this actually says like tattoos that can be applied to a character to adjust their stats.
I think this might be a gear slot tattoo or something like that, rather than a
I was still thinking there was a dad joke in there somewhere. So I was waiting to try to figure it out.
No, it's a gear slot. I think this is then if it's affecting stats, it's probably a gear slot tattoo.
That's fair.
And that's like how Steven talked about things being your accessory slots, or was typically your right hand slots can go both a vertical or horizontal progression depending on what you do with them.
That's all good, Gullet. I just didn't know that, so I had no idea.
Yeah, higher quality magical tattoos can be applied to adjust stats. They may also provide stat augments or other boosts. Tattoos can be removed.
Painfully with the laser?
Yeah, right. Or with the blade.
So if you move your tat lower, do you get extra stamina?
Oh man.
I did a nice horrendous. That's awesome.
That's cool.
That character reminded me of the guy from Star Wars. Nice. Can I get that?
Magical tattoos that increase the stat? Yes, please.
Go.
Where do I go to get one?
But yeah, that's something I recall hearing about, but I just the way the question was phrased though, I totally thought there was a dad joke or like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Pun. Like a pun in there somewhere. Like a play on the words in the statement. Yeah, Adam Driver.
Nice.
Did look like
All
him.
right, I've got a few redeems here. If there's any redeems you guys can think of, you let us know.
Yeah, we'll put them on in there.
Woo. Actually, from last week, did we ever get an answer to the question that we had regarding the EXP deficit?
I have to go log into my forum to see if that was ever a
I
thing.
do not believe so. But that's something we can put in the next questions thread for absolute sure.
Yeah, because that's still a big concern potentially.
Yeah.
Not to rehash that conversation from last week. Check out last week's video if you're interested to hear that conversation.
My oof when I've been away from the forums for a little bit, and there was 13 notifications that I've missed, and I was like, oh, it's a lot. But all of it is about the secondary archetype idea that I had, for the most part. Yeah. So, it was just the one that we talked about with, I believe, Golidon, with the whole was it Golid? It was somebody with like the ability to go into like a mini little tutorial of you trying the game, which there was a lot of super mixed responses to that. There was people that are super for it, super against it, kind of for it, kind of against it. Thought it was a waste of an idea entirely, because it would be like wasting resources on something that wouldn't be completely accurate and stuff like that. Which there were people that are mainly like conversing amongst each other with like posing different responses, and I think it's cool.
I feel like it's a good idea, especially if there's not something in place that's going to let you easily change between the subclasses, like I brought up last week. And especially if you're locked in to a subclass, you're going to want to make sure you choose the right one. So that you're playing what you like, even if that is, here's the zone that we're going to scale you up to max level so you can experiment with all the skills. We're going to give you all the skills while you're in this place, and you'll get more later.
The idea was meaning people are just meanies. It's all good. I don't feel bad about it. I knew I put out there a somewhat polarizing idea. So
I don't even see why it's polarizing, to be honest. Like, hey, what do you think of the idea of a thing that would help you get used to the world?
Polarizing in terms of some people want it, some people don't want it, kind of thing. Like with anything, there's for and against people, right? So I knew that there would be, like, the point that I was making is I knew there'd be people for it and against it. I was just trying to put it out there as a thought-provoking thread. That's all. And I accomplished it. People are still talking about it. So, whoops, I got what I came for.
It would. I think it's definitely worth to get that in, unless they let you go between things decently freely. Like that could be another gold sink, like kind of like how respecking your talents was back in early days of WoW. You had to spend X gold that increases over time each time you change your archetype.
Yeah, and it like got more and more expensive. I remember that part because I was like, you know what? I've changed too many times today. Let me just not for the rest of the day. I'll just change character. How about that? Yeah,
until they added dual spec, which again is something that could be an interesting gold thing. So you can choose. You can be one active, but then you can have two different archetypes depending on what you're doing. Like if you have your PvP archetype versus your PvE archetype, or your solo grind versus your group play.
That's kind of similar to what we were talking about a long while ago on the show, where we thought it would be a good idea to be able to go through a fairly exhaustive quest in order to obtain your secondary archetype. Like when you hit that level, if you want to unlock the ability to have your secondary archetype, you got to go through this fairly exhaustive quest. It's going to take you around here, there, the other thing to do very specific, like, class-based things.
Public test server, gotcha.
Then you would unlock it, and you'd be able to play as that secondary archetype added in. So you'd be able to actually play as that class. But if you had to do that with every single one, I think that would be like crazy worthwhile. But then you know, I don't care if there's a cooldown on it.
Yeah, if you can, if it's you unlock them, and then there is a 24-hour cooldown between switching to any subclass. Sure, that's fine. That's even reasonable to me. So you're not just flipping back and forth willy-nilly.
Yeah. You can go through 8 class quests in order to play all the subclasses, and then, like you said, give it a 24-hour cooldown, so I can't just pop back and forth whenever I want to exactly.
Yeah. And that was the main reason why I thought it would be cool to have the little, like, jump in and try the character at, like, quote-unquote max level with the secondary that you want. Even if it's not the exact build that you'd want to go for, at least it'd give you an idea of what it's like versus spending all of that time getting up there and then not liking it and then having to spend all of that time
leveling up a new character to get up there to try something new in order to I'm much more along the lines of Vertec with either or you and Vertec in either the fact that you do 8 different quests at 8 different times in order to unlock them all, and then we have a cooldown, or you get to try every single one of them out. You figure out which gameplay there is, and to go back, I forget who said it. Let me look through chat. Grumpy. No meta jumping. I actually don't think there's going to be a meta with classes. There's going to be
there's going to be meta for circumstances.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like the tank as an example. That's going to be, of course, the best tank in the game. But any tank hybrid. Yeah, but any
I've not seen that emote before. It threw me off, and I just took a drink.
Yeah, but I feel like any class that takes a tank hybrid will be able to tank in some aspects.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, tank I think is going to be, if anything, the meta is going to be a full team of 8 with primary and secondary being the same archetype.
Okay, so
I feel like only for tanks and healers. I feel like for for DPS classes, it's going to be a lot more situational. And I feel like things like if you're a predator versus a shadow guard off tank, there's going to be different utilities and different types of damage you're going to be bringing up, which is also going to vary on the situation.
That's fair.
I mean, honestly, I think in general, I've always had this belief and hope, honestly, that a meta won't develop game wide. It will develop for specific situations or specific boss fights or whatever. Like those, yeah, I could totally see that. A boss fight is going to have a particular way that's going to, for whatever reason, be vastly superior. But then the next boss fight's going to be different, and the next boss fight's going to be different, and the other raid is going to be totally different.
I was going to say, I think being able to swap between the archetypes, if there are points, if you will, those should stay because of your level, not like because of how long you've played with that archetype. Because how bad would it feel? Kind of like, I guess, if you would think, not horribly bad, because I do play Final Fantasy, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. How bad would it feel to push through to the max level with your secondary archetype to find out that you don't like how that completely builds out, and then need to re-level from wherever you, like from 25 to 50 with the new archetype?
This is where my mind is going with that, is we have I want to take it from the point of World of Warcraft to Wrath of the Lich King in terms of talent points.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you're going to get in your main archetype. You have think of it as you get your detailed talent tree for your main archetype, and then you look at how you get the 3 choices at the certain level increments with the new WoW talent point that I think first launched in the Cataclysm Pandaria. I don't remember. It's been a while. I hate the new one. It's because it takes a lot of the player agency out of it.
Yeah. I haven't played since like
Legion.
I don't know. Legion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still that same talent tree, but I feel like we'll have something smaller, a little bit more focused for the other ones, but that's still going to scale off of your main level, kind of like to go back to Final Fantasy, how if you level up Arcanist, you're leveling up both Summoner and Scholar at the same time.
Yeah.
That's how I think it should be done in an ideal world. Now, are people going to want alts of the same thing to do different things and have different builds? Yes. But you're not going to want to have a different hunter for 8. You're not going to want 8 different hunters for 8 different fights, because that would be stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, Wood Chip Critter called me out, and I'm trying to figure out why. He says you need to watch more YouTube videos, TV. I'm not really sure why, though.
I think he's saying you have too much free time. You need to fill it. YouTube videos. Watch them. Where does it go?
I don't have...
No, I have no idea.
I barely have free time, if that's what that is.
Yeah, what's free time?
Right, exactly.
It's that time you don't have to pay anything to have. And I don't
sleep.
I don't really pay for my time. I just work it.
Right. Speaking of this dude over here, he pulled a all-nighter again and then napped today, so...
I don't know what you're talking about. Never done such a thing.
Never.
Not once.
All the builds will be available after 2 weeks after release. Yeah, I was talking about swapping between them. Like, if you have the secondary archetype done, and then you don't like how that playstyle feels specifically for you, instead of having to re-level a new secondary archetype, I was more so asking if you guys thought it would be better to have the points to be able to reallocate, or if you'd rather level that new secondary. I guess there might be tomes of remembrance to allow you to remember the spells, but
I am one of those, like, I honestly think every game out there should take Final Fantasy system.
I agree.
Where you can be any secondary you want. Doesn't matter. You just have to start back at 0 and you level back up. But you could switch whenever you want. I don't even care if there's a cooldown. I just like the fact that I can have one character that can train in multiple things.
Yeah, I think that's...
Oh man, Vex in-game wearing a costume to cosplay being a Kalar. I'm
sorry,
do it now.
I saw that and I died, and I literally imagined that guy over there doing that, like, just to do
I'm gonna do that. Like, specifically, that brings up some very comedic instances that could occur. I'm just gonna get traditional Kalar garb on. I'm gonna find a Kalar metropolis, and I'm gonna hang around. Hello, my fellow Kalarians. How is everything this sunny day? Hello, friends.
Hello. But goodness.
Hey. Stereo.
They definitely should. Even if each, like, let's say we get each archetype at level 30. Then when you go back to unlock your other archetypes, your main, if you take, let's say, because I'm thinking rogue, and I'm going to spend a lot of time either as predator or shadow guard, so either ranger or tank. So I was going to be like, okay, let me level shadow guard first, level that all the way up, and then be like, okay, I want to try predator out. I drop back down to 30 as a level, but it's more for the point of, all right, you have to get your predator skills, right? Like how Final Fantasy has drop quests. You just have to
Yeah.
redo your job quest to learn the skills rather than level up all the way again.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I would prefer that just because when you're an alcoholic and you want to try everything so you know what you're working with when you're in a raid. Like when I'm a tank, I want to know what all my healers can do and how it feels to do that stuff. So I need to play the healers at least to a certain point. So I know how they feel and how much like I can push them when it comes to, hey, just do this thing real quick. And how much I can expect them to be able to, heal me in an emergency or heal me through a trash pull or something like that. And vice versa. When I'm healing, I need to know what all the tanks are capable of and tell them when to pop a cooldown because I'm out. Or are they, a paladin and just I don't need to worry about telling them to pop a cooldown because they have 700 of them and they're using them on full rotation all the time. And I could probably take a nap.
Also, Woodchip has a good point also with the fact that all the builds will be released 2 weeks after launch. So you can kind of look through, get an idea of how the augmentation will work and kind of have in theory what you would like for it to be. And then combined with the ability to try it out through like a tutorial system almost, you would be able to like get your idea of how that should work and then get your hands-on feel and be like, is this kind of for me? Yes or no? And then if it is, be able to go with that and then tweak it out further or make it more custom towards like what exactly you're looking for. And that's kind of what I was thinking with that. And like knowing, even just looking at all the builds from a tank's perspective, you have an idea just from looking at data, or not data, but like the verbiage of things, how it might affect the healer. But that physical feeling of trying out the healer and seeing exactly how that feels is a whole other thing.
So when they say like my insert whatever skill is on cooldown, or I just use this, or I don't have that because I need to save it for this, like what they're talking about and you can instinctively go, okay, no worries, I got this.
Yeah, that might be somebody else's build, right?
Or like 10 seconds to whatever, and then you know what to expect in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say like there's you can get a lot from reading, but there's also the gameplay portion that you're going to miss out on, and that I feel is going to be a large differentiation because of how your archetype feels. You can read it and say, oh, these abilities are cool, this seems right, I want to do the high damage, this one does the most damage for me, I'll try this one out. But in actuality, if it doesn't feel right or it feels clunky to play, you're not going to want to play that archetype, and then you're kind of SOL if you can't jump out of it.
Yeah.
Just saying, I got a druid, and I thought the cat sounded amazing, and so I was like, let me be a cat druid. And I didn't want to be a cat druid after very little bit of time. It's just, no. It sounds amazing on paper. It sounds fantastic. Like, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to do that.
Yeah.
But no. Just no. I immediately got rid of that. Turned it into a bird.
But to respond to what Kash said, he says, you should start fresh when you play the archetype for the first time, but then they should not give you skill points based on overall character level, but experience points on you get on the second class tree.
That could work. That could be a reasonable
okay
solution.
With
that. Yeah. I forgot where I was going with that. I'm getting a little distracted.
As I do, would you?
Okay, what I was going with that was the main purpose for bringing that up was Final Fantasy has it where you can catch up to your primary class. If your primary class is at 90 and you're at 50, you get a boost in XP because of the difference between the levels, I believe, kind of. But if you're
still
playing Ashes, Yeah, it's still a boost, but where for playing Ash as a creation, you are grinding through multiple weeks to get up to the higher levels. It's not nearly as fast, and the multiple weeks to a month of grinding of other players will increase the node level. So like the progression in the level, it takes longer. Plus, if you factor in how often you die, etc. So that's why I was mainly asking what people thought of, like which one they would rather do, because you spent so much time getting up there in the first place. Since you're playing an elf, will you build a Pyre blueprint tavern or one of the tavern cosmetics you bought? Yeah, exactly what Vertex just posted. Both, all. We have definitely bought a variety, so we'll be rotating based on the seasons and stuff. But if it gives us a ability to do a blueprint thing, that might be kind of cool for Vertex and I to work together, or even with you guys, the community, to build a custom tavern look. Since it's because you guys were here, even. So, also, what did you clip? I'm nervous.
So when you guys do make a tavern, are you guys going to try and put a tavern in a metropolis, or are you guys going to try and put a tavern in a smaller node that's more likely to be preserved?
Well, you see, that's a really good question, friend. Because, yeah, I don't think we have an answer for that yet.
No.
I know.
It really depends on how often I think things get sieged and where, what the main node probably is, and like what benefits the main node probably has, etc. It's a factor.
To be honest, depending on how the mechanics turn out, I would probably lean towards putting it on one of the tier 5s that are just outside the metropolis. Maybe even go so far as the tier 4 outside beyond that. Because then maybe, depending on how the mechanics work, since it's not in the metropolis node specifically, it may not be raidable. Because if the entire, 20% of the landmass is raidable and destroyable because one metropolis got beat down, that would be severe. So,
no, that's not the roommate.
No, sorry.
Yeah,
unless you're asking Sid.
But yeah, as long as it's only that one single node that can get ravaged and torn apart, then yeah, I'd like to be a node or two away from the metropolis.
I agree.
The metropolis is going to be, I think, the biggest target, and then the other big targets are going to be for rival guilds, where you have Guild A who doesn't like Guild B. They're always trying to put them back by destroying the node that they're currently working on.
Yeah, because I know
but
everything
honestly,
that they've said so far, but I just I don't know what it's going to end up after all of the testing is done. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But honestly, there's a lot that can really happen with not only the nodes, but also what's to come with being able to build your freehold stuff and things like that. Where, what kind, how often, things like that. Freeholds are raidable after a successful siege. Yeah, so that kind of becomes a little bit of a problem, because if we're in a siegeable node and somebody comes and raids the Golden Feather, not in a good way like on Twitch, but in a bad way, and then steals all our loot and stuff, that's a little less exciting.
Yeah.
But it does make absolute sense in real life. An army overtakes a town and is able to take control over all the resources of that town, in the modern or the older ages. I feel like smaller nodes may get raided a lot as they could be less defended. That's potential.
But then you're also just on the note of smaller nodes. It depends on if it's an RP community node or not, because if it's an RP community node, I can promise you, even though it's a tier 3 or tier 4, everyone and anyone who uses that node to RP is going to come to its defense, regardless of if it's a big siege or a small siege. So I feel depending on, like, if the Golden Feather Tavern does end up being a good RP spot too, it'll become a relatively safe node.
I'm not answering that. Miranda says the mansion owners will need to predict when the node will get attacked. Why is that mansion so cheap? Right? Just please, anybody take it. I'm getting out of here.
Well, I actually don't think that there is going to be a designated RP server, because every world is going to develop differently, and different RP guilds handle things differently.
It'll be more like an RP node.
There'll be an RP node, and there are, like, I'm a PvE focused guy, but I do like my RP from time to time. So if an RP node that I go to is going to be attacked, even though I suck at PvP, I'm going to go and try and do my best to knock it out and protect that node. Because I can almost guarantee every node every server is going to have at least 7 different RP nodes.
Yeah.
It would make sense. Yes, I just feel frisky. You're good, Chip.
All good. No, I'm saying that out of love and jovialness. Jovial.
Joviality.
I thought joviality was a word.
Jovialicious.
I just make up my own words, and
like
hope you guys understand what I'm saying.
Jovialiciousness, even better.
Hope you're right. One only way some of the races will get their architecture build, is the RP players.
Yeah. No,
How did you come to 7? 7?
7.
Because at least 7 RP nodes, he was saying.
At least 7 RP nodes. Just because there are, just from experience, like, if you look at Final Fantasy, which is kind of a bad example, you look at the Crystal Data Center, that is at least 100,000 people right there. That is that are RP people. Then if even a tenth of them come over, that's 10,000 people coming over to RP in Ashes of Creation. And nodes are not going to have citizens up for up to 10,000 people. So I'm talking there's going to be at least 7 nodes per server where things are going to expand in from an RP standpoint. And I'm not necessarily some will be taverns and inns and towns, but others will be geared towards different things. Just like every guild that has a freehold will have a different style of freehold that may be opened or closed depending on the RP story and how open a guild is to other RP guilds.
Just saying.
It's
wherever the tattoo artist node is, that's where I'm going to be.
I mean, just look at the
tattoo district.
Tattoos on this character, you know?
Yep, that's exactly why. It takes a lot of work to keep all that up.
The tattoos and the scars.
They call me Mike. Thank you for the follow. Welcome into the Golden Feather. I hope you enjoy your stay adventure. Speaking of, wouldn't it be cool if there was like bioluminescent tattoos?
I think that's possible, especially later in the game with all the bioluminescent stuff that they showed underground. So I'm not counting that out. Like it'll be
like a node near that area, or like even in that area.
I am very interested to see how a underground node will work, because I feel like that's going to be an option. And like underground node, and an island node, and a port node. Those are the 3 nodes that I am most interested to see how they work.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Well, It is 8:51. You'd think it would have to be with the Tolnar starting there, right? Honestly, I agree with that, Mike. With the Tolnar having the with the Tolnar having the bioluminescent might be really cool on them too, because they've got all the different types of body parts going on there. Interesting morphs of themselves. But it is. We've been going on for about 2 hours at this point.
Yeah, it's hitting the 2 hour mark here real soon. That means it's time for food.
Yes, that too.
Did we just get a
absolutely.
raid? I saw our numbers just spiked.
Oh.
Okay.
I think he's trying to keep us here.
Leverage.
Leverage. Thank you. 5 months. Was that your April Fool's joke? Were you prepping that, Sid?
Me? Huh? What? No.
No.
You had me looking
having
though,
way
like, did
too
I
much
really
fun.
miss a raid?
Well, no, I did see the number of people watching jump from like 19 to 25. So.
Oh, I didn't see that. But Metropolis-sized Underrealm would be awesome. I would love to see that. And I'm sorry, Mike, you just seems like you just joined in here and we're like towards the end of ending. But we start at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we usually go for about an hour. But as of late, we've been going for roughly 2 hours. So if you enjoy what you've heard so far, feel free to come earlier and okay, cool. Glad you've been lurking, because I was like, oh no, we're ending almost.
Yeah, the timing stinks.
Yeah. But we love your inputs. We love your conversations. We're about the community. We do cover news things, but we more cover news through the lens of the community and seeing what you guys think and what your opinions are and what you like, what you don't like, things like that. So super happy to have your thoughts and your viewership and your support, because as Vertex says, you could be anywhere, but you're here with us.
Yeah.
But as we begin winding down, Sid, what is the biggest takeaway from yesterday's live stream that you have?
The biggest takeaway, I think it's got to be the blend feature from the character creator. Really have to say
it's a pretty good feature.
It's the blend feature. It just adds so much to what we can do with everything. So I'm looking very much forward to the blend feature and the character creator.
All right, Vertec, what is your biggest takeaway from the live stream?
Well, since the guest goes first, of course, and he stole mine, I'll go ahead and say that the next big thing was going to be the fact that there's going to be, I guess, in a way, raids at sea. Like,
okay,
with the giant fish thing, like, that's, when you think about it, that's kind of news. Like, there's a lot of games that have, like, even WoW, there are raid boss, world boss type things that are out in the ocean, but you just swim around and stab it just like you would on land, only you swim up and down as well as going in circles, right? It's the only difference. But other games, like, it's the same thing, but you have like a specific water combat ability set, and that's about it. You bring out a spear or a harpoon gun or something instead of your normal stuff. But the choice of words that Steven used wasn't, it's going to take a whole lot of people. Like, it's not a 20-man raid or 25 or maybe even a 40-person raid. He was actually saying it's going to require a vast number of ships. Vast number of ships.
Yeah, that's why I think port cities are going to be fun and interesting to look into.
Yeah, that interests me a lot to find out more details about that.
Yes.
Alpha 2 can't come soon enough.
Right.
Especially if it's persistent, it really can't come soon enough.
My biggest takeaway from all of this is being able to see for the first time what some of these models actually look like outside of the floating head. So we can have a better envisionment of like what the Vec or the Kaler look like, which is really important to us because it's nice to see the theory behind like the facial expressions and everything, but like what color are they? What other things? No, gosh, no. Nair
You're gonna pretend I didn't see that.
Nair says he may have embellished a little for all we know, but I'm all for 400-man raids with 10 full galleons. That sounds like an epic battle that I would just love to cover on Twitch. Just like watch as a bystander.
You get in your little longboat and start paddling along the edge of the battlefield, getting different views of the fish in the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying if they're
please
planning
don't
for
kill
like
me. I'm just trying to watch.
500 or 1,000 people battles, that it's not too far a stretch that they would maybe make a, giant, potentially needing 300 or 400 people to kill it fish.
Yeah.
Especially just to go on what Steven said towards the end with how loot would be distributed. Especially if there's different loot drops based off of your group's participation in the raid. So if you get the tag and there are 400 people participating, your group needs to deal 20% to get 5 pieces of loot, 10% to get 4 pieces of loot, 5% to get 2 pieces of loot, and 1% of the damage to get 1 piece of loot. Again, random numbers.
To get a thin scrap.
Yeah.
Here's your participation trophy, basically.
Yeah.
Everybody gets sushi as a participation.
You get cartilage.
Horrenda says, I keep thinking about Nodes 1 video where Steven said a fisherman may pull in Munster. I hope not the beast they showed on the live stream.
That's probably how that raid boss is going to spawn.
Yeah.
That's probably
some poor fisherman.
It's going to throw their line in, fish him up, and all of a sudden get eaten and come back to their screen like, why am I dead? And there's a server message that says, the anathema fish has spawned.
What if the fish targets AFK players? Like if the game notices that you haven't like made an action in the last 5 minutes, it's like, okay, you must be AFK, and then
See, no, I would love for the game to do that for bots.
Yeah.
It has like these like
bots get eaten,
these like these worms that like slink underground, and if you're not moving around and actively clicking, you just kind of go chomp and down you go.
Yeah.
How fun would it be if they actually had AI enough in there to make opportunistic seagulls, to where if you were literally AFK fishing, they would come down and start eating your bait?
Oh no, not the bait.
That would be fantastic.
Funny.
That would be fantastic.
I hope it's not a poor fisherman NPC.
Baby, nothing to do, baby, nothing to do. All right.
Goodness.
Oh god,
we're going crazy here. We're going crazy here.
If I coined the name of that fish, I'm going to be scared.
Right.
But yes, like Chibi was saying a few moments ago when we tried to leave the first time, you people are all lovely, and we love you all. We really appreciate you coming by. You could have been spending your time doing anything, including creating a character of your own in a different game, thinking that it was Ashes instead, and wishing and dreaming. But you did not. You sat here and you looked at it and talked about it with us. So we appreciate that. We love you all.
And we picked out Kale and Faye because they happen to be playing Final Fantasy XIV at the moment, and they don't have too many viewers. So we want to go share the Golden Feather love, the Ashes community love, and make their day a little bit. So thank you guys for making our night and coming and joining and chatting with us. I loved your thoughts and your inputs, and I can't wait till next week.
And just to put it out there, Kale, in case you haven't bumped into them before, they are planning on streaming Ashes stuff they did during the alpha. So that's one of the reasons we're going to be rating them over here, is because they do participate in the Ashes community.
Woo.
And I will be
I love
updating you
bye.
guys. Oh, okay. Bye.
No. No, go ahead.
I'll be updating you guys in the Discord with some stuff. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Where was that? What?
Oh my goodness. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great night, everyone.